I want to share a question from one of my viewers that came in through one of the comments of a video recently. This one comes from @Warner72. What Warner72 asks is this. He says, "Hey Jay, I'd be interested in seeing you discuss training stimulus and training frequency necessary to maintain muscle mass as we get older." And he goes on to discuss some other things, and he asks the question, have I lost any of my muscle over the years, or have I been able to maintain or even grow muscle? So I appreciate the question @Warner72. If you have questions, bring them in, send them through the comments, whatever. And I can't guarantee it, but we'll try to at least answer some of them. And I do try to always respond in some way to all of you, and I appreciate your viewership. But the question is, have I lost any of my muscle mass over the years? Or better yet, have I been able to even add more muscle? Well, the first thing is we must know if we're adding new muscle or if we are adding back muscle. There's a big difference. And when I say adding back, I don't mean adding back here, but I mean regaining what you once lost, because your body is going to pretty easily put lost muscle back on when you go back to working out. But to answer the question more specifically, yes, I have lost some of my muscle mass over the years from where I was at my peak. But the reason for that is sort of on my end. And that's because I sort of changed my goals and sort of changed what I wanted my physique to look like, how I wanted to compete on stage and what I wanted that to look like. And so I actually stopped taking in all of those calories that I once took in and eating all of those meals. And so that is proof to me when I talk to you about calorie intake, how important calories are. Because I know when I was taking in 4,400 calories a day, I know what I looked like when I was working out really hard and doing that with my calorie intake. Now, I don't want to do that anymore. You know, I stay 3,100 or under, depending on what part of the season I'm in. But there is a such thing as sarcopenia. And this is what leads to muscle atrophy. As we age, we have a tendency to start losing muscle. Listen, this no doubt happens when we're in our 30s, but certainly if you get over 40, you're dealing with that. And so if you're always doing 3 sets of 10 and 12 of everything that you do, there's a thing called adaptation that's taking place in your body. And when adaptation takes place in your body, this means your body has become accustomed to what you're introducing to it. So if you're going in and you're doing the same exercises at the same rep range and the same sets, and you're never changing that up, or you're never giving any new challenges to your muscles, guess what's going to happen? You're going to start to be on the downside with your muscle mass. And the reason for this is 2 things. Number one, you're not giving your body any new challenges. And so let me just say this, you don't have to change the workout. If the things that you're doing, the exercises that you're doing are working for you, then do them. But change the intensity level, because what's happening is you are racing time. And so your body is shedding muscle, and therefore it takes more for you to just maintain than it would have in your 20s. So you may have just lifted a little bit and gained muscle in your 20s. Now you have to really bring it and change it up just to maintain, because your body is naturally taking that off. One thing that you can do to overcome this adaptation situation and muscle atrophy to an extent is to use tempo. You don't have to overcome muscle atrophy by trying to do 1, 2, or 3 rep max exercises using this extremely heavy weight. You can still keep the weight down, but yet change up the exercise in a way that it brings new challenges to the body. And this is what I do. One good example of this is the tempo lifting. With tempo lifting, we're talking about basically time under tension. And you've all heard about time under tension. But you can do something like a 10-0, 8-0 type exercise. And what that simply means is with the concentric and eccentric lifts, you are going to be looking at it this way. If you can envision 10-0, 8-0. On the concentric, that's going to be your 10 count. On the top of the concentric is the pause. That's going to be your 0. The 8 will be your eccentric back down, and then 0 will be the pause at the bottom, and then you repeat. You can do this any number of ways to mix it up, but that's one of the things that you can do. Listen, sarcopenia is a fact of life as we age. And losing muscle mass it's a fact of life, and nobody, I don't care if it's Schwarzenegger or Stallone or whoever, nobody yet has been able to figure out how to overcome that. The best that we can do is stay active and be able to do everything we can to fight nature when it comes to our physical bodies. And I believe staying active in any kind of way is going to slow down that process. But if you can continue to create new challenges for your muscles, then you're going to actually do more to maintain. Now, can you gain muscle in your 50s? This goes back to what I said earlier. If you, for some reason, have just been working out lightly and not really putting forth any effort, and you have lost muscle, but then you go back in and you decide at the age of 50 to really bring the heat, change the exercises, do these concentric, eccentric, slow lifts, time under tension lifts, tempo lifts, you're going to add muscle. But the muscle you're going to add is most likely going to be the muscle that you had lost. Most likely, that's going to be the case. I do appreciate this question because it's something that it's on the minds of all of us when we cross over the age of 40. But the last thing I want to tell you is this is the reason tracking your progress is so extremely important. If you want to know what's happening with your muscle mass, if you want to know if you're making any difference, of course the mirror can tell you and the scales can tell you, but tracking your workout progress is going to tell you. So whatever you do, always track your progress, always track your workouts, and know how much you lifted the time before, what reps and sets you did, what exercises you did. If you did time under tension, which I strongly advise that everyone go and try time under tension tempo lifts, I don't know, for 3 or 4 weeks and just see the difference. Here's what I know. You will not be able to lift the same amount of weight, and you will not be able to lift the same amount of reps as you have been accustomed to. You just can't do it. Your body is going to have to work so much harder. You're going to find a new soreness in your muscles that you haven't been experiencing in the past. And so that's going to be something that's going to probably motivate you to continue even pushing harder. So track your progress, try this time under tension tempo lifts, and let me hear from you. I'll try to get to your questions. And if I can't bring them on the air, I'll certainly try to respond the best that I can. So I appreciate you tuning in and watching, and we're going to catch you on the next video. Until then, go get fit.